Most of us think of sleep as just stopping, the end of the day, right? A passive state where we just switch off. But what if that's completely wrong? What if sleep is actually one of the most active and critical things our body does? Okay, let's get into this, because the science is pretty clear. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's your hidden superpower. To really get this, let's start with a simple question. I'm sure you've been there, cramming for an exam or pushing to meet a deadline. What really happens to your brain if you skip just one single night of sleep? Well, the answer is pretty shocking. You get a 40% deficit in your brain's ability to make new memories. 40%. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's the difference between acing an exam and failing it miserably. Without sleep, the memory centers in your brain basically get waterlogged, and you just can't soak up new information. And believe it or not, that crippling effect on your memory is just the beginning. The cost of not getting enough sleep goes way beyond that. It hits every single system in your body, starting with the one that's supposed to keep you from getting sick. Now check this out. This chart shows what happens to your immune system. Researchers had people sleep for just 4 hours for one night. And the result? A 70% drop in their natural killer cell activity. These are the critical immune cells that hunt down and destroy dangerous things, like cancer cells. Yeah, a 70% drop from just one bad night of sleep. So when that one bad night becomes a habit, the risks just skyrocket. Routinely sleeping less than 6 hours a night is linked to a higher risk of hypertension and diabetes, an increased risk for cancers of the bowel, prostate, and breast, and it can jack up your stroke risk by 4.5 times. It even messes with your very genetic code, disrupting the activity of over 700 different genes. Okay, so we get it. Not sleeping is bad for us. Really bad. But what incredible work is actually happening when we're unconscious that makes it so vital? What is this biological magic that takes place every single night? Well, sleep isn't just one big block of nothing. Your brain actually cycles through 4 different stages over and over again all night long. You start off in light sleep, then you go down into deep sleep, and finally you enter that famous dreaming state of REM, or rapid eye movement sleep. And each one of these stages does something totally different and totally critical for your brain and body. One of the most incredible things happens during deep sleep, and it's all thanks to something scientists call the glymphatic system. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a nightly power cleanse for your brain. See, all day long, your brain cells are working hard and making all this toxic waste. It's got to be cleaned out somehow. And here's how that power cleanse actually works. It's genius, really. When you drop into that deep sleep, your brain cells literally shrink, which creates more space between them. This allows all this spinal fluid to rush in and just wash away all the toxic gunk, like a chemical called adenosine, which is what builds up during the day and makes you feel tired. But your brain isn't just taking out the trash during deep sleep, it's also hitting the save button. There are these powerful bursts of brain activity called sleep spindles, and they act like a file transfer, moving your memories from a short-term fragile folder to a more permanent long-term hard drive in your brain. This is how you lock in everything you've learned. So, our brain is cleaning house and saving files, awesome. But here's the million-dollar question for all of us. How much sleep do we actually need to get all this incredible work done? Well, as you can see from this chart here from the National Sleep Foundation, there's no single magic number for everyone. Our sleep needs change a ton over our lives. A newborn might need up to 17 hours, while a kid in school needs around 9 to 11. It's really a sliding scale that depends on where you are in life. So what's the bottom line for most of us? For adults, the scientific, evidence-based recommendation is right there, between 7 and 9 hours of sleep per night. And when you routinely get less than 7 hours, that's when you start running into all those negative health problems we talked about earlier. Okay, but what about naps? So many of us feel that afternoon slump and think, oh, I could use a quick nap. But is napping actually helping you, or could it be messing up your sleep at night? First off, you know that sleepy feeling you get in the afternoon? It's not your fault, and it's not just because you had a big lunch. It's actually a pre-programmed biological dip in your alertness that's hardwired into all of us. It usually hits sometime between 1 and 4 p.m., which kind of suggests we might be built for a little afternoon rest. But here's where napping becomes that double-edged sword. If you're someone who generally sleeps well at night, a short nap, like 20 minutes, earlier in the day can be fantastic. However, and this is a big one, if you struggle with sleep at night, a nap is a terrible idea. Think of it like snacking right before a big dinner. It takes the edge off your sleep pressure, making it much harder to fall asleep later on. So we know why we need sleep, how much we need, and the deal with NOPS. Now, let's put it all together. Let's build a practical toolkit. What are the most effective things you can do starting tonight to actually improve your sleep? Well, it really comes down to two incredibly powerful rules. Number one is regularity. Go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, every day. Yes, even on the weekends. Regularity is king. It anchors your sleep. And second, keep your bedroom cool. Your body needs to drop its core temperature to get to sleep and stay asleep. The sweet spot is around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 degrees Celsius. But look, for a lot of people, the problem goes way beyond these simple tips. Chronic insomnia, which is when you have trouble sleeping at least 3 nights a week for 3 months, that's a serious medical condition. And for that, there's a gold standard treatment that has nothing to do with taking pills. It's called CBTI, or Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia. Basically, it's a structured program that gets to the root cause of your sleep problems. It helps you retrain your brain, breaking those bad habits and anxious thoughts that keep you awake, and instead, it teaches your brain to associate your bed with deep, restful sleep. And when you put it head-to-head with sleeping pills, it's really no contest. Sleeping pills, well, they don't give you natural sleep. You can build up a tolerance, and there's a risk of dependency. CBTI, on the other hand, actually solves the underlying problem, which makes it way more effective in the long run. It gives you the skills to manage your own sleep for the rest of your life. When you pull all of this science together, the conclusion is just inescapable. As the great sleep scientist Matt Walker puts it, sleep is a non-negotiable biological necessity. It is your life support system. It is not some optional luxury that you can just trim away when life gets busy. Think about it. We will spend about a third of our entire lives asleep. A third. It is basically Mother Nature's best shot at immortality, the most powerful health elixir we'll ever have. So the only question left is, are you making the most of it?